thank Art for kicking this off and welcome you again all to the 2023 Steeler Alumni Dinner. To get started, when you do events like this, you have great sponsors. Want to acknowledge them and thank them. UPMC Health Plan, and U.S. Steel. Tonight's beneficiary, is that the U.S. Steel building? Table, sorry. Thank you. You guys are the best. Tonight's beneficiary is the UPMC Sports Medicine Concussion Program. Dr. Mickey Collins and his team are sitting right here. And let me just acknowledge they are the best in the country. And they are here in Western Pennsylvania to serve for better care for head trauma. Be sure to check out the online auction presented by Acrisure. Those proceeds will benefit that program. And the auction will close tonight at 9 o'clock. Steeler representatives are walking around selling raffle tickets for the jerseys. I believe there'll be 17 of them. Everybody, all the greats that we're going to introduce here have signed them. So at the end, sponsored by 84 Lumber. So if you need any materials, I'm a big fan of 84 Lumber. Use them to use whatever you need to build. They are also sponsoring it. The 2023 Alumni Dinner tonight is going to celebrate 20 years of football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In those 20 years, the Steelers have won 217 regular season games, 10 AFC North Division titles, 3 AFC Conference titles, and 2 Super Bowls. There are some teams that haven't done that in 100 years. And next, we're going to introduce some of those legends that have helped build this organization. And every one of them have contributed in some manner to make this organization the organization it is. And this, hey, just so you know, they didn't have my jersey, so I didn't get to sign one. I don't know who we report that to. That's secondary. This next group that I'm about to introduce, I always like to create a perspective. Some 5 to 6 million kids start playing youth football at age 8. 0.02% of those kids ever play in the National Football League. I'm about to introduce 0.02% of those kids that played in the National Football League for one of the greatest organizations in NFL history. And obviously, with the credentials that I just read, they are a big part of that 20 years. First, number 20, Dwayne Washington. And please stand up. Thank you, Dwayne. See, Dwayne was my lead dog because he knew I'd screw that up, because I would like everybody to stand, when I introduce your name, please stand up so we can recognize you. Number 77, offensive tackle, Maurkice Gilbert. Fullback, number 45, Roosevelt Nix. Number 97, linebacker, Kendrell Bell. Linebacker, number 98, Vince Williams. Center, number 53, Maurkice Pouncey. Quarterback, number 10, Kordell Stewart. And these next group of players helped win a Super Bowl, so they are Super Bowl champions. Number 29, Chidi Awuma, number 29. Linebacker, number 57, Clint Crewalt. Center, number 64, Jeff Hartings. Tight end, number 84, Jerame Tuman. The other bookend, number 89, tight end, Matt Spaeth. Safety, number 31, Mike Logan. The quietest linebacker in Steeler history, number 55, Joey Porter. A two-time Super Bowl champion, defensive tackle, number 76, Chris Hoke. And I conclude with this introduction. Steeler Hall of Honor inductee in attendance. Guard, number 66. One-time Super Bowl champion, 2018 Steeler Hall of Honor inductee, and 2021 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, Faneca. Let's give another round of applause to all of our legends that have impacted this organization. We're going to get a chance to listen. We're going to have 3 panels. We're going to hear from some of these guys and their stories here in just a second. But we'd like to also give some recognitions to some people in attendance tonight. The Whipple Championships are going to be played on November 24th out here in Acrisure Stadium. We have some legendary coaches in attendance who have hosted that Whipple Trophy in years past. Currently at Mars, but a champion at Pine Richland, Eric Kasparovich. From North Hills High School, Jack McCurry. From Clairton, Tom Nola. From Woodland Hills, George Novak. From Upper St. Clair, Jim Render. Congratulations, gentlemen, and thank you for developing young men in a great pro in football. So thank you for your efforts, and good luck to you guys in the future. As we mentioned, we're going to have 3 panels. We're going to start with this panel. Right now, they're going to come up. I'm going to ask the 4 that I'm going to introduce to come up to this stage, and we're going to cuss and discuss for a few minutes a couple of things. First, Jeff Hartings, Maurkice Pouncey, Alan Faneca, and Kordell Stewart. Okay, I am a historian a little bit. I just don't have all of my facts, so this is going to be somewhat hypothetical. I think people know about the Steeler history and coaches. We've had 3 in almost 60-some years, right? I don't know if you know this about a particular position for the Steelers. It probably has never or will ever happen again. There's been about 5 players that have played the center position spanning maybe 60-plus years. Ray Mansfield, Mike Webster, Dermontti Dawson, and actually Mike Webster was my roommate when I first got here. Dermontti Dawson was my neighbor, so I and played with Dermontti Dawson. And we have Maurkice Pouncey and Jeff Harting. So we are looking at those names right there have played the center position for nearly 60 years. So my first question is actually to you guys. I want you both to answer this. Did you know the history of the center position for the Steelers when you got here? And if you did, how did that change you or impact you as a Steeler?
Good question. I'll go first since I came before Maurkice. And I had the shortest span of all those guys. And yeah, I definitely did. You know, being a football fan. I mean, I didn't, you know, when I was younger, obviously, but Mike Webster was in my youth and, you know, didn't really follow him that much being from Ohio. But Dermontti Dawson is a guy that I watched. You know, I watched when I was scouting other defensive linemen. I played guard, but you'd still see some pretty amazing things that he did. And then I've often said to come here and go from guard to center is one thing. That position change is one thing, but when you're watching film from the previous year, because you're getting ready for the next season, and you see Dermontti Dawson do some like things that nobody has been able to do until Maurkice came, since he's sitting next to me. But it was pretty amazing, and yes, I was intimidated by that. But what I realized is that you just have to, you got to build your own game and do your own thing. I was very thankful, very blessed to be able to play next to a Hall of Famer over there, Alan, and he helped me out a lot. And I was, we were on the radio before and just saying I think that we ended up having some of the best offensive lines in the history of Steelers football, and definitely during that part of 2001 to 2006.
That was a great answer, Jeff. I like that a lot. That was a great job. But I didn't know, I grew up in poverty, so the only team we got to watch was Tampa Bay and then the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I had to learn a lot of the history, and it was a great reality check when I got up here, but I learned it fast. But hell, the guys in front of me was a lot better than me, so I enjoyed watching you guys. You guys taught me a lot, and thank you for all the tough times you guys had on us. But it's just been a hell of an honor to be back in front of all you guys. I truly appreciate it. I know I've been away from football for a while, but it feels good to be back for sure. Thank you, guys.
Well, and we're glad you're back, Maurkice. You'll always be a part of Steeler Nation. You want to think about that. Those names, I don't know if there's another team in NFL history that any position can have that.
Crazy.
Those 5 guys over some 60, 70 years. It's incredible.
Now, I will say
that's
one
a
of my
tough
biggest
position,
moments
too.
to have the center hall. I know we walk down every single day. We walk down the hallway to go get coffee, and they had the center position there. And I used to always see the guys. Hartings was up there. Some of the other great guys, Damani, but it was one of my goals to be up there. And now that I'm up there, thank you, Mr. Rooney. I don't know how much that picture cost, but thank you.
Well deserved, Maurkice.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I mentioned 0.02% of high school kids ever played in the National Football League. I don't know what that percentage is that wear a gold jacket, okay, but it's less. That's all I do know. That's what my first grade math will tell me. So my question to you is, because I don't know how many kids, I know there's a lot of kids want to play in the National Football League. I don't know how many say I'm also going to be a Hall of Famer. So let me ask you this. When did you realize you had put together a Hall of Fame career?
I think when I was on my journey, and I've done a few interviews today, and you start talking about making the Pro Bowls and the All Pros, and then people start talking to you about this, right? Like, I'm still playing. It's like year 6 and 7. People start talking to you about being in the Hall of Fame possibly one day, and no, don't talk to me about that. It's not time. It's not time. I have more work to do, and that's how I always felt, and I always try to teach my kids that is the same thing. Keep working, keep pushing. You never know, right? Let things happen as they're going to happen, but it's still an honor, man. It's such an honor, right? Like I'm number 347 in the Hall of Fame. That's my number, and it's right in here in the jacket. It still shocks me, right? It's an amazing thing, but. You just keep working, man. You just keep working and you keep pounding, and you let everybody else do all the talking, right? Especially offensive line, it's a little easy, right? We just do our thing. So that's what I did.
Well, you know what? Congratulations. Couldn't be to a better player and a greater person. All right, Slash. You're next, my friend. Kordell Stewart doesn't realize what I'm about to say. He and I have a piece of history together. Kordell Stewart's first preseason game was against the Buffalo Bills. It was the first time that I ever did anything in the broadcast booth with Myron Cope and Bill Hillgrove. And I know a lot of you are like, why? We never heard you there. Because there was a rule they had for me. You speak when spoken to. And they never spoke to me. So that's why nobody knows I was in the booth. Now that being said, that was Kordell Stewart's debut and my debut. I get asked this all the time, even though I know a little bit of the story. I don't know the real story. Everybody wants to know how Slash came about. How did that evolve? So I was like, well, tonight is going to be the night we're going to all find out exactly how Slash was evolved. So I leave it up to you, my friend. Take it away.
Sorry they didn't let you talk when you were up there covering that game, man. That's kind of selfish of those guys. Well, in '95, in the preseason, I remember Neil O'Donnell ended up getting his pinky finger broken, and Mike Tomczak had to step in. Rod Woodson got hurt when we were playing the Detroit Lions against Barry Sanders with the shake and bake. And then the receiving core just kind of started just dwindling away. But yet I'm on the sideline wearing khaki shorts and a clipboard. So in practice, I would help, whether it's on special teams, whether it's doing my reps with quarterback to receiver. And it just, as the year kept going on, I think we were like 2-4. And throughout that time, I was just helping because the numbers were getting small. And plus, I wanted to stay in shape. So I was fast, almost fast as everybody, or faster than everybody else. So, you know, it's made guys look a little bad sometimes. So it got to a point where Neil O'Donnell would say to me in practice, have you ever thought about playing wide receiver? And I said, no. He said, would you like to do it? I said, well, if it gets me on the football field, sure, no problem. So as time progressed, maybe a week or so later, that's when Chan came up, Chan Keeley, who was our offensive coordinator at the time, and Coach Cowher. They was like, so what if we did create a package, call it the Buffalo package, and gave me a few plays? Well, play against Jacksonville. It was 3rd and, I want to say, 17? Neil O'Donnell lines up to the left next to Yancey Thigpen. I have all the other receivers to my right. I hear defender says, who's going to cover Neil O'Donnell? Neil O'Donnell's the quarterback who needs to cover. He's not getting the ball at all, right? So they don't have a spy in the middle of the field as they would do for mobile quarterbacks. Well, they play cover 2, which is 2 safeties. I get the snap. I rush for like 25 yards on that one play. First down. The next week, Myron Cope. Play against the Cleveland Browns. I get the snap. I scramble to the right. I come back to the left, hit Ernie Mills in the back of the end zone. Kordell Stewart, slash. He's born. And so from that point forward, that's when it just stayed alive. But I asked Coach Cowher, I said, Coach, if I give this a try, will I have an opportunity to compete for the quarterback position? He said, yes. I said, can I keep the number 10? He said, yes. I said, let's play. That year we went to the Super Bowl. We ended up losing to Dallas in Super Bowl 30, but that kind of was a great run for us.
All right. Yeah. I love it. All right, there you have it. I didn't know all that, so that's awesome. I love it. Now, we're going to start with Maurkice. This is the last question. Regardless of how many games you played, how many plays you played, there's still that one game or a play that you reflect on a lot. Can you share what that game is or that play is that you reflect on every now and then? It could be good or bad, but that you reflect on.
I got to talk about a good one for sure. But I think it was more for me, it's just the battles that we had with some of our division rivals, maybe, you know, the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. And them games meant a lot more. Obviously, the week of practice was more intense. And they had some hell of a great players, and the games were always intense and cool. So I think out of the biggest moments and accomplishments out of the career, I think it was more the division rivals that meant a lot more to me. But hell, I can't complain. I had an awesome career. I had some great players. I played with Big Ben the whole entire time. So, well, the 1 year at Mason was a little bit hard, Mr. Rooney. So, just so you know.
Jeff?
Well, the Super Bowl is, you know, obviously the #1 goal for any football player. So it's got to be from the Super Bowl, and we had some great. Yeah, there you go. I don't bring it out very often, but you definitely want to bring it out if you're here. But the reverse, because the reverse pass for a touchdown to Hines, because you're practicing that the whole week, and you're like, are we really going to get a chance to run that? And then you're in the huddle, and you know they call that play, and you know, man, this could be the play that gives us a great chance with our defense. I'm looking at Joey, like our defense just get 20 points, and we got a great chance to win that game. And so when that was called, you know, the defensive nose tackle is right here, and I go over real quick, and, you know, he thinks, boom, he thinks he beats me in the gap, and I'm kind of looking over like this, yeah, I think we got you. You know, we get the reverse, and then you see the ball in the air and the touchdown, and that's definitely the greatest feeling I had in the NFL.
Awesome. Good stuff. Kordell?
It was so many, Merrill. I'll go back to, and the question was, one of the most memorable moments?
Moments or games that you played?
New England Patriots in the old Foxborough Stadium. It was one of those games where I just decided to give the ball to the other team in the first half like 3 times. You know.
So that's a choice.
Yeah, it was. I just gave it to him.
We're gonna change that from interception to a choice.
Just want to get everybody, you know, keep them in, you know, enthused and locked in, keep them in the game. You know, people get a little tired sometimes. So we decided in the second half to want to start playing football. Well, I started in the second half, start playing some football. And I remember it was another one of those third and long situations. We were on the far left hash, and it was like, I want to say 3rd and 15 or 16 or 4th down or so, and Yancey Thigpen ran a comeback against Ty Law. And I had Chris Slade, just the defensive end, number 55, he was just coming at me full speed. And, you know, we always talk about the release point as quarterbacks, right? You know, that's how we analyze them. And so this release was something I never saw me do before or even could try, but I just knew I had to throw it to Yancey, and I threw it to one spot, and he catches it. And when he catches it, I thought it was incomplete. But that catch that he made, we end up scoring. Norm ends up kicking a field goal or whatever. We go off and we win the game. We get home field advantage throughout. But that one particular play gave us an opportunity in my first time starting as a quarterback in the season to get home field advantage throughout. And we did it on the road in a hostile environment against Bill Belichick. Actually, was it Bill or was it, I think it was Bill. Parcells, was it Parcells? Yeah, so we ended up getting them, it was a Bill, right? It was a Bill. And so that win and that moment in time in my career kind of made me feel like I belong in the National Football League because it meant something so much to our organization and to our team.
Good stuff. Awesome. All right, Alan, take it away.
All right, so all right.
Yeah, let's go.
There we go. You know, for me, you know, you talk about moments and you talk about plays, and then for me, one of my moments, and it's like one of those just little minute things in your career, right? It's just a moment in the tunnel, man. But like, so we were, it's 0-1, we're finally in the playoffs, right? We're in the tunnel. You know, we've been coming out, terrible towels, all that, right? But like 0-1 playoffs, home playoff game. You're in the tunnel, they call everybody out. You know, normally I'm like every other O-lineman, right? Except Marvell Smith, right? You just run out, right? You run out, man, let's go play some football, man, let's go do it, right? But the crowd is pumping, right? You're hearing it in your chest, right? The crowd is going crazy, and you just feel it. And I just stood there for a minute, man. I was like, this is what I've been waiting on. This is the moment. This is what I'm here to play football for in the NFL, man. Was this moment? It's special to me, man. It's just a small little moment, man, but it's one of those moments. You know, for plays like Jeff, you know, it's hard to top anything that happened in the Super Bowl. And you know, Willie Parker's long touchdown run was just a complete setup. The beauty from beginning to end. Working on it for 2 weeks, setting them up. You know, we were setting them up. We wanted to kind of piss them off just enough with Randall L. getting like some 4- and 5-yard passes, catches over here to where they would slide the linebackers over. And sure enough, we're getting them, we're dinking and dunking them. We come out after halftime, and they talked about it at halftime. And they got tired of Randall L. catching 4- and 5-yard passes in the slot, and they slid over. And I get up in my stance, and they slid over, and I'm like, hold, here we go. And the rest is history. The rest is history, man. But it was a beauty from beginning to end. Like I say in the movies, I love it when a plan comes together.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing some of your great memories for Steelers Nation. I'm gonna let you three back to your seats. Alan Faneca, I'm gonna keep you right here, and we're gonna swap you guys out. Now, if we get Jerame Tuman, Chris Hoke, and Joey Porter. Now, this is what I love about a script. My next question is to Alan Faneca. The longest touchdown in Super Bowl history before the Steelers played the Seattle Seahawks was 74 yards, Marcus Allen against Washington Redskins. The longest touchdown in Super Bowl history is now the 75-yard touchdown play from Willie Parker. So my question is going to be, could you describe that play? And you just described that play. But I do actually, what was the play called? And tell me this. Tell the fans, like, at halftime, what took place that led up to that play. Because people think that at halftime you go in and you sip on water and eat oranges and get ready for the second half. There's actually a lot of stuff that goes on in the locker room to get ready for the second half. So could you go for a little more detail, the play call and what you guys talked about in the locker room on that play?
Sure. It was counter 34 Pike. So we had about 6 or 8 plays of those little passes to Randall in the slot on the left. And counter 34 Pike was a check on every single one of them. So if they slid, we were automatically going to it. So we were able to get the ball to Randall in the first half a couple times. So like when you said, when we came in at halftime, Russ Grimm, the other offensive coaches were like, we're coming to it. They're going to do it. They felt we dangled it out there a little bit. They knew they were going to slide to it. And then I think it was the second play of the second half, right? They slide over. And, it was really about positioning, right? We wanted those two linebackers that were stacked just to slide over a little bit to cover up Randall. And that gave the front side guard and tackle, gave Kendrell and Max Starks the ability to get that linebacker, which put me on a safety, which made a nice big wide hole. And we knew if we got Willie Parker in some space, one-on-one with the safety that had to come up and fill, that we had a pretty good chance of doing what we did.
Awesome. I just love that. All right, Joey Porter, my friend. I got a question. I got a question for you I'll never be able to probably ask another person, because I don't think it's ever happened in NFL history. You won a Super Bowl, and you have a great picture with your son, Joey Porter Jr., who is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. When Joey Porter Jr. wins the 7th Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers and helps them win, what will bring you more joy? To have won one and your son be there, or to be there when he wins one?
Easy call, to be there when he wins one. It was like when we won, like we had been on the verge for so long. Like when we finally won, we feel like we were late, to be honest. Right. Like that Super Bowl team was one of our good teams, but it wasn't our best team. And it sounds crazy because that's one of the teams that won the Super Bowl. But that 13-3 team, 2001 or 2, that 15-1 team the year before, like we had some dangerous teams that should have cracked the safe a long time ago before we actually won it. Like we hit that stride at the right time, but like I played on some teams that didn't get the recognition. It was some bad people on those teams.
Joey, this is why you're great, brother. You just answered both my questions, because I was going to follow up that other question. You're speeding us along. Chris Hoke, you've won 2 Super Bowls. Can you describe the experiences of both and how different both may have been for you?
Well, I'll tell you, the first time we went was a really special experience, and we didn't know what to expect, right? You're going for the first time. Everything was new. Everything was the first. And, that first one was really special because that was Jerame's last game, if you guys remember that, and being there and showing up and then him running out into the stadium. That was Joey's idea, and then having Jerame run out there and watching him run and staying behind in the tunnel. And we were all there. That was a special experience. And just going through that game and then the emotions afterwards and celebrating were really raw. They were experiences that we never felt, so that was what made it really, really special. And a lot of times people always say, hey, listen, when you go, really take it all in because you don't know if you're ever going to get back. And then it was just a few years later, we were back there and felt super blessed to be back at the Super Bowl. And it was still a special experience. It was different in the sense that it wasn't new. We knew what to expect. We knew how the week was going to unfold. Those jitters weren't there that you had in the first game. But in terms of winning the game, there's nothing better than the clock going to 0. I mean, that feeling's the same, right? I mean, it's just feeling that exhilaration, those emotions of, and a quick flashback and reflection of Latrobe being at training camp, going in and every game and all the trials you go through in the season and the playoffs, and it all kind of just flashes before your eyes, and then going out there and celebrating their teammates. In that sense, it was the same. But the difference would be that newness, that rawness of the first experience.
Yeah. Awesome. Jerame, you won a Super Bowl. What was the best experience in that Super Bowl, aside from winning it, that you reflect back on?
I think there's a lot of, obviously, plays and events that went on, during that week, the time spent there. But, the thing that stuck out to me the most was you always hear about that first kickoff, the lights flashing. And, as the week preparing up to that, it's a Super Bowl, but you're still in preparation mode. And, things are a little bit different. You wait longer in the locker room to go out. But it wasn't until that kickoff started and the bulb started flashing that you realized, oh, we're here. And that's really stuck in. They've already stole the two plays that stick out for me. One was in the reverse that Jeff mentioned to Randall L. I was a little nervous on that play. I had the right end where Randall L was coming back to. So I was responsible for that. And obviously that was the touchdown that led the way. And then, obviously, Allen failed to mention that his big kickout block was the block that sprung Willie Parker. So those two plays were definitely the ones that stuck out to me.
Awesome. All right, this question's for all of you. We'll start with Joey Porter. I'll have you both answer it. What did you love most about the game of football?
I'm like crazy competitive. So I just love the whole compete, like the whole I'm better than you mentality. Like, because in football, like you have these individual fights. You're gonna play 70 snaps, and the guy you're going against for 70 snaps, we're keeping score. It's a game, but he know and I know who's winning this battle. And that's the matchup that I like. You have to win your battle for all of this to work. Because if I'm losing my battle and the dude next to me is winning his, I'm the the weak link, and I never want to be the weak link. Like, so just the competitiveness of that, and like the locker room. I was a true locker room guy to where I wanted everything to be equal. I was big on like no special treatments for nobody. Because I just always feel like that offset things. And it's the league, so it's going to be, like we knew Jerame wasn't going to practice till Friday. He would get on the table on Wednesday and he'll be purple. Like his whole side from the hits. So we're like, all right, we ain't getting busty back to Friday, but we cool with that. But everybody else got to come to work. Like we didn't have nobody who can get this day off or that day off. You had to be in the fight with us. And like we had guys like Cheedy and Cheedy was your counterpart. Sean Morey, like, they were special team demons. Like, if we punted the ball, they was getting tackled wherever that ball was punted at. You'll see Cheedy popping his collar, or you'll see Sean making a tackle. And Sean was a skinny guy, but he was just fearful. He might have been like a hockey player back in the day or something. Like, he was crazy. So all of that, just watching all of those different fights and enjoying football for what it was, like, that was big for me. Like, I'm a football guy to where a little bit of football historian, because, like, I got guys that I watched play that, in my mind, I thought was, like, bad guys that people really don't talk about, like Kendrell Bell over there. Mm-hmm. That was, like, the hardest. I got people that I played with, and I put them in categories. That was the hardest hitting football player I ever played with. Yeah. Like, I watched him make people do backflips. You know what I mean? Troy Baby Jesus was like, he was the first guy that I played with that actually just took over games. Like Troy could change the momentum of a game in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? So like all of that, I appreciated all of those things in football was why I played, and I enjoyed every moment of that.
Joey, that is exactly why my wife says you are her favorite football player right there, brother. Your passion for the game. Chris?
You know, first of all, Joey, talk about Kendrell Bell being a big-time hitter. I remember we all played with him. Remember the story where Kendrell met Jerome Bettis, Bussy, in the hole at training camp and goal line period?
Friday Night Lights.
What happened? Who knocked who back? Because Jerome swears that he never knocked him back, but Kendrell knocked him back.
No, he spent Jerome back around like top. He sent him back through that hole, and Kendrell was a rookie.
He was a rookie.
So he hit him so hard, you would think I made the tackle because I'm running down the side celebrating like I did it. But like I hit Jerome. He hurt me plenty of times, but I never told him that. Like I hit Jerome, and I had to play the next play because I didn't want him to know that he hurt me. So I had to play. But he got me a gang of times. Bussy is the bus for a reason. That's a big dude. Like, and he thick. He got heavy lowers. So when you hit him, you don't win them battles all the time. So when Kendrell hit him and spent him around, it sounded like a gun went off. And like, damn, that's the first time we seen Bussy get shot. Like,
But he wouldn't admit it, though.
Oh, he didn't have to.
He got up barking, and he said he didn't get knocked back, but he got knocked back. You're there. Yeah, that's right. I think the one thing I loved about football was the physicality of it. You know, I think about what Coach Cower would always say, you know, this game ain't for everybody. It's a violent game. And I love the physicality. You have to if you're a nose tackle, right? And there's nothing that felt better than taking on a double team and coming off and making a play or, you know, holding it or seeing a block back and flying into that guard that's coming down on you and beating that block. To me, that was what it was all about, right, was the physicality of the game, and I think that's appropriate for a defensive lineman.
Jerame?
I think I learned at a young age that, you know, as Little League football and you're out there playing and you go knock some guy on the ground, knock them back, and the coaches jump up and down, great job, great job, great. You're like, you know, that's all I have to do, you know, to get acceptance, be appreciative, to be, you know, successful. And that fueled the fire early. Obviously, you know, making plays in big games. But I think, you know, the thing that always comes back to me now is the relationships you build with the guys you're with, the times you spend in the locker room, the cards you play on the bus ride and on the planes. You know, anytime we get together in events like this, those memories are the ones that come back to me more than anything else. And football for me was always something that was bigger than myself, and it was always something that I knew I had the guys next to me working just as hard. I was playing the game for them as much as myself, and that always comes back to me, and I think that's what sticks out to me the most.
Thank you, brother. Last one, Alan.
You know, I'll take all three of these guys' answers as well. I think those are very easy answers for probably most football players, right? The thing I love to say is, man, so many chances. 0.02%, right? Get to play this game in the NFL, and we got to play a game as little kids, right? I started playing tackle football when I was 8 years old. To play a game for a living, right, is something pretty special. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go behind that, but it goes. You're doing it with these guys right here and that are out here. You're doing it with them, and there's a special bond that you can never take away. And that's really the big thing right there, man. It's the bond, and it's the mano y mano. It's the guy you're going against. It's the physicality. It's the big plays. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. Where else can you go to work and 80,000 people either love you or they hate you? Right? Right? I almost preferred the hating you, right? I loved it.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Let's give a round of applause. Joey Porter, you got to stay. Joey. I'm going to show. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to keep Joey Porter up here. And to join Joey Porter, Kendrell Bell, Vince Williams, and Mike Logan. Now I'm going to tell you this interview could go sideways really quick. You got a running back with 4 defensive linebackers and safeties and stuff up here. Now, I'm going to build on something that Joey mentioned about Kendrell Bell. When I was working at ESPN, one of the great shows I did was called the NFL Matchup Show. You get to watch tape. And that tape is what all these players watch to get ready for Sundays, and it's rare footage that only players get to watch. I used to like to call coaches every now and then just to see what they thought about the other opponent. So watching Kendrell Bell, there's a lot of things that I saw on tape I'd never seen before. So they were playing, Tennessee Titans were coming into Pittsburgh to play. So I decided to call Jeff Fisher, who's the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and he's a good friend of mine. So I said, what do you think about the Steelers and their defense? He said, Merrill, I've never done this before. He goes, I took 5 plays of Kendrell Bell. I made my entire team come in. I turned the lights off. I played those 5 plays. I then hit the stop button. I turned the lights on. I said, that's what we're dealing with. Get ready. I never heard a coach ever say that about anybody. And I played against Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White. I never heard anybody, any coach say that, put their entire team and go, that's what we're dealing with. So that guy right there, a hammer now. I mean, a hammer. So it's good to see you again.
Same here.
Good to be. Now, that being said, this actually question cleared up for me. I didn't. So, Joey, you played it in Three Rivers.
Yes.
You played in Three Rivers. So in 2001, you guys come over from Three Rivers to the Trackershire. Kendrell, you're a rookie. You both have 9 sacks that year. Can you talk about that season for the two of you, how that materialized, how you end up having 9 sacks? And keep in mind, Joey Porter's an outside linebacker. Kendrell's an inside linebacker. Would you say it's harder for an inside linebacker to get more sacks than an outside linebacker from that perspective?
I didn't spend
know
a
this
lot of
could create
time
some
on outside.
animosity
I
right
went
now.
outside a couple of times. That was foreign territory for me.
Right.
I was used to north-south. So in my mind, it was easier to go north-south than it is to get on the edge.
For us, seriously, so our defense is a complex defense because rookies really can't come and pick it up as rookies. Like, you don't play in the defense as a rookie. You have to take a year off to learn it. You'll spot play, and if you play good enough, we'll create more plays for you. Kendrell was one of them guys where he played so good, we created a package for him every week. So it started off as Mac Knife, then we had Mac Sword, Mac Gun. Anything with a Mac, we was gonna send him through every gap. So Pouncey would never drop because Kendrell is coming. And I remember Tim Lewis, the D coordinator, and Kyle was like, just send him. He's going to get there, so you might as well just send him. Just put him in a gap and let him go. And that's what we did. And the center would know he's coming, and he'll make him do a backflip. Like, he'll run him over and get the sack. So, man, he was like defensive rookie of the year and all pro is a rookie.
I know.
And that's tough to do in this league.
Agreed. Agreed. Vince, you eventually become a star with Ryan Shazier. You start getting playing time. Tell me what play or what it was that helped you finally get in the starting role with Ryan Shazier, and what was that experience like playing with him?
I think I would have to say it was a game I played against the Chiefs. Ryan was actually injured. It was me and Lawrence Timmons starting, and I ended up leading the game in tackles. I had 14 tackles, and that actually ended up being the most tackles that any Steelers ever had in a single game. So I think from that really showed everybody my potential, and that kind of just slotted me in the next guy to be in the starting lineup.
I just want you to know, I played running back, and I played against a lot of great linebackers, okay? I don't think there's any bigger three hammers than these guys right here in the history of our game, than these 3 guys right here. Absolutely, man. Give them a round of applause. All right, Mike. Browns wild card game, interception. You lead the comeback in 2002, 2003. Walk us through that.
Well, before I even get into that, I learned that that was the birthplay of the Renegade comeback. So I'm taking some credit for that Renegade song that comes back.
All right. I love
But
it.
even though we were losing that game, and we were losing bad, there was an aura on the sideline about us coming back and winning. And there was a particular scene where we see Joey out there, and they play the Renegade, and who was it? Somebody got like pumped up on the sideline. And I was like, somebody has to make a play. And I didn't think it was going to be me, just to be honest. But lo and behold, the biggest play of my career got injured on that play. But just to see that comeback and see that fight within us to come back and overcome all the odds of winning is something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And I want to deter off of that just for 1 second and speak about something that Joey said that lets you epitomize everything that it is to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Joey's a Pro Bowl player, and he sat up on his stage and called out Chidi Iwoma and Sean Morey, who were special teams players, who really don't get the recognition and everything, you know, that comes with being a Pittsburgh Steeler. So for guys to call out special teams players, to bring notoriety to them, to let them know how instrumental they are to us having success as a Pittsburgh Steeler, that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Like that, to be a part of that is so, like, you can't even put it into words. Troy Polamalu, who's the best human being that I ever known in my life, he's a better human being than me, made me want to be a better human being, called out my name in his Hall of Fame speech. That's bigger than any play, anything that I've ever done in my life. So to be a part of that, to be a part of knowing that even though I don't make as many plays as this guy or the next guy, but him to have that respect for me, I'm so honored to just be a part of that, man. And that's how everybody on all the teams that I played for, that's how they felt about one another. So bigger than that play, that's the greatest testament that I have about being a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Love it. Folks, that's what we call a mic drop, because this follow-up question would never trump that. So I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you guys for being on the stage and sharing those memories. Thank you.